right, guys, welcome back. Here we go to break down what was actually a very entertaining night of fights. Brunson versus Shahbazyan. Let me tell you what, it was a crazy 48 hours, though. There was, like 10, 15, or about 12 fights on the card, but when we previewed it last Thursday. From our previewing it on Thursday to fight night Saturday, we lost almost half the card. 4 fights on the prelims ended up working out. 4 fights on the main card. It was insane how it all worked out. Shahbazyan and Brunson obviously were still able to kick it off. There was an amazing fight card, nonetheless, only having 8 fights. What did you think about all the craziness that happened? It was almost like one of the most possessed cards ever. Like, holy shit. Like, besides it being an international fight week, I don't know of one card that's been decimated that close to fight week.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's maybe they broke a record for those cancel fights. I'm not sure, but I think maybe they did. But yeah, a majority of these fights got rescheduled.
Yes.
So.
Well, one guy, Gerald Mershar, he ended up testing positive for the coronavirus. Yeah. His opponent didn't, end up not being. Trevin Giles fainted on his way to the octagon. Crazy situation. It was actually they said it might have been something a little more serious, so they're going to definitely take a closer look at Trevin Giles, and our wishes are go out to him and his family, and just speedy recovery, and hopefully it's nothing too crazy. Big Mouth Kevin Holland, who was his opponent, is now fighting in 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's fighting. He's fighting August 9. Yeah. No. Is it a pay-per-view? It's a fight night. No, it's not a pay-per-view.
So he's fighting on Lewis versus Oleinik.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice. So they got him a quick turnaround. The other guys, I don't know exactly what happened with everybody else, but just crazy shit, man.
Crazy shit. But the card was pretty decent.
It was very good, actually. I mean, the 8 fights that were there, we got a lot of answers that we needed to have answered. We got, some huge performances by guys who needed to have the huge performances. And we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. In the prelims, actually, the very first unanimous draw without a point being lost ever in the UFC was contested in the very first fight. Chris Gutierrez and Cody Durden had a draw in their fight. In my opinion, the game plan that Cody came in with, he knew that he was going to gas. He took this fight on short notice. He had to go in there and have an impressive first round. And that's exactly what he did. He had a 10-8 round. He knew he was going to lose his stamina. Chris Gutierrez obviously didn't have a loss in stamina. He trains at altitude. So he was able to push through, that first round. He not decisively, but he clearly won the second and third round. But unfortunately, because Cody was able to dominate the first round and it being a 10-8, those other 2 rounds being 10-9s made it a unanimous draw. And the only time in UFC history we've seen that without there being a point deducted.
A lot of people I saw in the comments said we should have more draw than this. It was a good thing to have this draw. In some sort, but I don't believe the people. I would tell you this. I don't believe, because I know that if it happens in a main event, in a crazy 5-round main event, and people are rooting for, I don't know, let's say when one half they are rooting for Conor and the other half they're rooting for, let's say, Khabib, and it ends up a draw, everybody will start booing, okay? So nobody... Yeah, nobody
no one's walking out of there. Listen, there's no one's walking out of the arena happy. If it's a main event, championships on the line, and they throw a draw, it's happened before. Obviously, points were deducted in those situations, but you definitely don't want it to happen in those type of fights. You definitely want a decisive winner. I mean, even sometimes they give it to the wrong guy still.
Even Woodley against Wonderboy, I think that Bruce Buffer messed up the saying who won, actually, but nobody was really happy to see it end up as a draw, really.
No, not at all. And Woodley was visibly upset after that fight. Funny that you mentioned that. I was just actually watching the first fight the other day. I was at the second fight. It sucked. That was my first fight I was ever at. And that was that was a disappointment.
The first one was great.
Ended up going to some more fights, and I fucking love it, man.
Yeah.
Jamel Emmers in the featherweight division took out Vince Carrero. It was a very good performance by Jamel Emmers. He obviously was able to mix up his kicking and his punches. He's got a very, very long reach, and it was something that he played into it. It was a close fight. When you look at, the total strikes landed, Emmers had 113, Vince had 121, but what the big difference was Jamel had 103 significant strikes to only 78 for Vince Cachero. Now, the big difference in the fight, the really dramatic difference, was the takedowns. Jamel was able to land and secure 5 out of 7 takedowns, 71%, where he stuffed both of Cachero's takedowns. It was a really dominant performance by Jamel, and I can't wait to see him crack through that top 25 of the featherweight division.
Yeah, why not? It was a good performance, a solid fight, because this is the actual fights where you have it's very dangerous and very easy to lose because it's some sort of an even matchup. But with those takedowns, he actually got those takedowns were big for him. Like he got this decision win. Those takedowns were very important.
No, for sure. He looked very dominant in that fight. I can't wait to see him again. Another interesting decision, in my point of view, Johnny Munoz obviously got a point deducted, I believe, in the second for some going sharks. Nathan Mamanus ended up winning the unanimous or the split decision victory. In my opinion, I thought Munoz won the fight. I thought he won the first 2 rounds clearly, and it really didn't matter what the last round would have done. Even if Manis would have dominated and got a 10-8, I still thought Johnny did enough to win those first 2 rounds. I don't understand what the judges did there. How did you score the fight?
I actually scored it exactly like you. I thought that Johnny really won those 2 first rounds, and I'm not sure because in some way I think that if he got they stole a point for him, that doesn't make Nathan the winner, or it doesn't make it a draw. So I was really surprised.
At least Munoz would have had a draw. I thought for sure he had the victory. Very close fight still. It was total strikes obviously were favoring Manis, and then the significant strikes obviously favored Munoz. 2 takedowns for Munoz, but 16 attempts. So that obviously Nathan Mamanus has to hang his hat on that. He, the constant pressure of Johnny Munoz, he didn't fold underneath it. He was in his face the entire night. A good 3-round scrap. I'm not going to take it for Manis, but I had it scored for Munoz.
Do you think that we should actually see more points deductions in the UFC?
There were so many groin strikes this weekend. I'm surprised that was one of the only point deductions. And let's be for real. I mean, what are we taking points away? Do we constantly have to tell the guy multiple times? For instance, Pedro Munoz fought John Dotson. He kicked John Dotson in the nuts like 3 times in 1 round, and they never took a point away. If you hit the guy multiple times in the same spot in the same round, I feel like you have to take the point away.
What is multiple times? Is it more than 2 or
more
is it
than
2,
twice?
3? Okay, so like for you, like
once is an accident, twice I'm going to give you a stern warning. The 3rd time you're done.
I'm not sure
3
about
strikes, you're out of the old ballgame.
I feel like in the second one you should get some points deducted, because with the second eye poke or this it may change the fight.
Strikes, what if it's a type of situation where the guy was moving into it?
Now this is where you need like professionals like Herb Dean.
Okay, so just one fight that pops off into my head right away: Juan Archuleta versus Pitbull. We were there. It was a situation where Juan Archuleta, got kicked in the nuts, and they were going to take a point. Or Pitbull got kicked in the nuts. They were going to take a point from Archuleta, but Pitbull stepped into it. So, I mean, do you really take a point from somebody who was just playing his game and then the other person stepped into it?
I think you should definitely take it case by case, but maybe you're right. Maybe even by mistake, you cannot kick someone in the groin 3 times by mistake. It should not happen. It should not
Yeah, for
happen.
sure. Especially if you already succeeded. If you got a warning, you just need to be more careful with those leg strikes. Throw
Yeah.
that shit to the calf, bro. You see all these goddamn calf finishes now.
Yeah, exactly. Oblique kick all day.
Exactly. The next fight, we did not need the judges for this one.
Yeah.
Jonathan Martinez decided to land one of the cleanest walking backward knees I've seen in a very long time against Frankie Saenz. Obviously, Jonathan Martinez was waiting for Saenz to shoot in. He shot in at the right moment as Jonathan Martinez was backing up, and he was only inches from the cage. So it
Yeah.
was at the last second. He threw the knee, bam, it landed right on Sainz's chin. Finished the fight, man. Jonathan Martinez looked very good in that fight. I'm interested to see what he does at bantamweight.
Yeah, and he ended like this third round pretty early. Like it didn't take him like more than not even 1 minute in that third round to finish him. Yeah, so it was a great performance. I feel
significant strikes were one-sided for this fight. Jonathan Martinez 79 significant strikes to Saenz is 39. So we're talking about 40. That's a lot.
Yeah, I feel like Jonathan. It was the perfect fight, like to end up with the prelims. I feel like,
yes.
Yeah, because it got us pretty like excited for what's coming next, and what's coming next is pretty good actually.
Well, yeah, we expected to see at this point Trevin Giles, and that's when he walked out and bam, fainted. It was a crazy situation. I've actually never even heard of something like that happening as they're walking out. You know what I mean?
Maybe not in the UFC, no.
Yeah, not in the UFC. I don't even, at the top of my head, I mean, basketball players, I've heard about that, but just a crazy, crazy situation. So we started the main card with a little bit of, I wouldn't call it excitement, but news. So it was just a crazy situation. We waited, and then we knew we were getting a banger next. Bobby Green, Lando Venata went in there. It was one of the best fights I've seen this year. It was the fight of the night. It won them both 50 G's. A great performance. Listen, if Lando Venata and Bobby Green just want to keep fighting each other for like a best of 5, I'm down.
Yeah, exactly. And we knew like before even watching this fight that there's no boring Lando Venata fight. There's no
the same way
also
too. He's in your face. He be talking shit.
I love his boxing. I feel like he's one of the cleanest boxer maybe in this division, and it's a pretty tough division. His boxing is pretty clean, and yeah, it was a great matchup. Like I wasn't surprised by this fight at all.
I was surprised with how many big punches were being landed that someone didn't fall. I was really, really surprised on that fact, especially Bobby Green. Bobby Green put the fucking work on Lando Venata. 115 significant strikes landed on Lando. It was a situation where I really thought Bobby Green was going to put Lando out. Huge compliment to Lando Venato's chin. Obviously, we've seen it before with Tony Ferguson, and we see it again here with Bobby Green. The dude's got a great chin. He definitely belongs here in the UFC. I mean, he's an entertaining fighter. Bobby Green has just shown in 2 fights that he is the better guy. Bobby Green is really changed a lot since joining his new fight team in Redlands. Him and Emmers are on the same exact team. Those guys were able to fight together on this card. Darian Caldwell is also out there. He fights for Bellator. This was an awesome experience for him, and he's super humble. He has a message for his kids after the fight, and that's what I love to see with these guys, especially in the lightweight division. We don't get that a whole lot, except for when you look at the champ, and when you get these guys who are still brazen and brass and loud mouth, but at the same time can be humble. It's an amazing experience. Obviously, he's there to enjoy his great MMA career with his coach, who he is, said has been like a father figure to him and has really helped him evolve. And we've seen this evolution of Bobby Green. He looked great against Clay Guida, looks great against Lando Venata here. I get this man a ranked opponent.
Question, both of them were not ranked before this fight, right?
I don't believe so. I believe they were both unranked.
This is how crazy this division is actually, because this division is so stacked that Lando Venata and Bobby Green are not even ranked in this division. This is crazy.
It's completely crazy, and that just shows the dominance of the champion.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Habib Nurmagomedov is just ridiculous with what he does.
For sure, yeah.
What do you see next for Mr. Bobby Green?
like you said, I believe he should be fighting someone top ranked or someone close to this ranking. Gregor Gillespie, I would love to see him fight again. He didn't fight ever since he lost to Kevin Lee, right?
Yes. He got
I
knocked
want,
out.
yeah, I want to see him back fighting. Islam Makhachev, I feel like the UFC cannot find opponents for him. So if Bobby Green is willing to take the risk and step up to fight him, he's more than welcomed. I feel like his striking may be something interesting against a guy like Islam.
I wouldn't mind seeing Drew Dauber against Islam Makhachev, and I wouldn't mind if he can get a win this weekend, seeing Mr. Bobby Green against Beneil Dariush.
Yeah, that would be a very fun fight. Yeah,
I mean, that's a war right there between those two.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, next, man, our good friend Vicente Luque went in there and just did the damn thing against Randy Brown. Randy Brown hit him with some good shots. Vicente just continued to walk through those shots.
Yeah.
4 minutes and 56 seconds in, as he held him up, he hit him with a devastating knee that completely folded Randy Brown, and then followed it up with beautiful left hands with some very nice ground and pound. Vicente Luque has now shown a completely different level of himself. I am ready to see Vicente against some killers in this division. He has been calling for Masvidal for a long time. They're not going to give him Masvidal. I would love to see that fight, though.
I'm not sure. I think that he may need like 1 or 2 more fights to actually get that Masvidal type of opponents. But listen, Vicente is one of maybe the hardest hitter in this division. I feel like just ask Mike Perry's nose how he feels.
Exactly.
Like. Yeah, he's a fucking beast in this division. I wasn't surprised by this. I think I called this out last week. I said that Vicente Luque may be too much for Randy Brown, and he was too much for him because Randy Brown actually had a pretty good performance, but it's just too much. It was just too much. Like Vicente Luque, I feel like they are not on the same level. Vicente Luque is fought someone that he's not on his level. Even with all his heart, Randy Brown, it wasn't enough.
He threw everything in the kitchen sink at Vicente Luque, and Vicente Luque literally just smiled at him and kept coming. I mean, Vicente really showed, and Randy Brown was talking a lot of shit. He called Vicente Luque one-dimensional. If you don't think Vicente heard this and put that in the back of his mind, he showed you that he wasn't one-dimensional. He showed you that if he needs to, he'll get into a brawl. But I mean, Vicente didn't get. I mean, he said it himself. He needs to work on not getting hit as much. If he already realizes a big fault, the sky's the limit for this young man.
Yeah,
and I really think I said it before. I really think he could beat Tyron Woodley. I think Henry Hoof has figured out how to beat Tyron Woodley.
Listen, this is like the perfect chance for him to fight against Tyron Woodley, who's on a 2-fight losing streak, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
It will be perfect for him. He will be the perfect opponent for him, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to end up being Colby versus Tyron Woodley, but I would love to see Vicente Luque versus Tyron Woodley right now. I think that's the fight to make.
That's the fight for Vicente Luque to actually pops up and really climb the ladder. That's what I think.
With this performance, man, Vicente ended up winning another $50,000 performance of the night bonus. If you have not seen this finish, check it out. YouTube, UFC, whatever you got to do to figure it out. ESPN Plus. Vicente Luque with one of the nastiest knockouts I've seen. Very nasty. How he held him up. He was, because guys, with the new unified rules, if he has one hand down on the mat, he's legally a downed opponent, and you cannot legally knee him. Vicente Luque had enough ring presence and fight IQ to know that, hold Randy Brown up, delivered the knee from hell, followed up with the lefts, man. It was beautiful.
Yeah, there is like, if you think that you will have one hand on the ground and you can escape those, he will just help you back up and knee you to the face. Like, this is how dangerous Vicente Luque actually is.
Yes, the fight IQ obviously off the charts. Women's flyweight co-main event, Joanne Calderwood, before this fight was coming in, already guaranteed a title shot against Valentina Shevchenko for the women's flyweight title. She put it all on the line against Jennifer Maia. And in 4 minutes and 29 seconds, Jennifer Maia made her realize that she probably made one of the biggest mistakes in her MMA career. Jennifer Maia goes in there in arm bars Joanna Calderwood 4 minutes and 29 seconds into the first round, now solidifying herself as the #1 contender and the very next opponent for Valentina Shevchenko. I want your thoughts on Jennifer Maia's performance against Calderwood and what you think about her possible demise against Valentina Shevchenko. Because it's not a great thing to be the #1 contender in the women's flyweight division.
Well, I'm not sure about any of them having a chance against Valentina. And I think that we made this point clear, and I think everybody knows it. Let's not debate about that because there's no debate. Let's talk about Calderwood. I actually want to say some stuff about Calderwood. Her fight against Caitlin Caucasian, if you remember, like she had the fight between her hands, and in the 3rd round, she just starts doing this with her thumb and doing this shit, and she ended up losing the fight. So she thought in her head that there's something not clear in her head, because in that Caitlin Caucasian fight, she thought that she was winning where she was actually losing. Then she won by a split decision. Clearly losing. Then she won by a split decision, so it was another close fight. And now she lost with a beautiful armbar from Jennifer Maia. Now my question to you is, how the fuck can a fighter who actually lost one fight then won another one by split decision be the unanimous #1 contender? I didn't get that, and I still don't get it.
The only reason why she was the unanimous #1 contender is because Valentina Shevchenko has already beaten everybody else above her.
Not a reason. Give a rematch to someone. Not a reason.
But does anyone deserve a rematch at this point when they look like it was a one-sided domination for Valentina?
Well, let me tell you something.
Jessica I literally got her head taken off. Fucking Caucasian got submitted. I mean, let's go down the list. I mean, there hasn't been. Joanna Jędrzejczyk honestly looked the best against her, and that's a strawweight.
Yeah, but now
when we're talking about women in flyweights, obviously Amanda Nunes looked the best.
Yeah, Caucasian won against those two fighters. Yes, she lost. Yes, she lost to Valentina, but then she won against her sister. So I'm not sure why they should not bring that. There's something you can build up, like a promo and shit like that. She won against her sister. She wants her back. You know.
Yeah, but do you think just beating Antonina is enough to fight Valentina again?
Well,
you better beat Antonina, and you better go fight somebody else. Cynthia Calvillo.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Cynthia Calvillo is technically the #2 in the division, isn't she?
This division is not making really sense right now for me. I feel like
we have a little more clarity, correct? Jennifer Maia is the #1 contender. She has proven it.
Yeah, she's proven it, and she's the one she's next on her list. Like Goldberg used to say in those WCW promo, like, you're next. She's next. She's next for Valentina. And
Calderwood initiated the takedown, knowing Jennifer Maia was a black belt. That was what really threw me off. I was like, why?
Her name is Maia. She's Brazilian, and her name is Maia. You don't take her down. What the fuck is wrong with you? Her name is Maia. You know that she will be submitted. Her name is Maia, man. No, beautiful.
Has looked very good since joining the UFC. She was the former Invicta flyweight champion. Coming to the UFC, she's looked phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, and she deserves this spot, but. We all know what will happen.
Now, with Jennifer Maia, obviously she has lost to Caitlin Caucasian, the young lady who you speak of next.
Yeah.
Do you think that is going to be a, dark cloud over her #1 contendership?
For me, yes. 100%.
Obviously.
For me, yeah. That's what I that's what I pointed out.
I just think you really like Caitlin Caucasian. What's up with that?
I'm not exactly. I'm not a huge fan of Caitlin or something like that, but it's just what I feel like. If she defeated both those fighters, I don't see how they should one of them leapfrog her. That doesn't make too much sense for me.
I feel you. I'll give you that one. Jennifer
No.
Maia, though, is the #1 contender, and that's what
No,
it
no,
is.
we know that Valentina will smoke them also. They will all get that piece from Valentina. Okay, so yeah, there's
That
no
will
issue.
happen one day.
Yeah.
Now, in the main event, Derek Brunson proved that he is not a stepping stone and that he is here to stay in this middleweight division. He made Edmund Shahbazyan look elementary,
Yeah.
and he really drug him into waters that he wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Why Edmund Shahbazyan was not fucking 100% focused on wrestling and his cardio for this fight is beyond me. Why he thought he was going to get Brunson out in the first round like he was Israel Adesanya is beyond me. He
Yeah.
should have look, Shahbazyan hits like a Mack fucking truck. Okay.
Yeah.
The dude exerts a lot of power when he strikes. If he just worked on that cardio a tad and fucking had enough cardio to go the full 3 rounds, it wasn't even a 5-round main event. If he had enough cardio to go the 3 rounds, I feel like it would have been a completely different fight. Brunson, though, credit to him, took his wrestling serious, took Shahbazyan down, used obviously the kickboxing that he has now, gotten from Henry Hoof and the utilage that he's gotten from them. He's been with over there at what the hell do they call it? They call it Samson or some shit like that. But it's fucking Kamaru Usman and all them down at the Black Zillions.
The Black Zillions, yeah.
Yes. So now he's down there with them, and he's really looked good in his. I think it's like three fights he's been over there. Ever since he lost to Adesanya, he went over there.
Yeah.
He's looked good. He's looked real good, man. I really am interested to see what is next for him. If you watched this fight, you've seen that he was able to stay calm. Shahbazyan hit him with some big shots, some real big shots that would have put out other middleweights. Obviously, you've seen what it did to Brad Tavares. He took him out, no problem. Brunson ate the big shots, can utilize his wrestling, which was very important to get Shahbazyan's gas out of there. He was able to secure 4 takedowns out of 8. And when Brunson's on top of you, that's a big boy, and it's hard to get off. Mm-hmm. When he was able to get Shahbazyan down, he was able to hold him down. He really controlled all 3 rounds. You can tell at the end of the second round, Shahbazyan did not want to come out of it. Yeah. The doctors came in and checked on him, and you could just tell his body language. Like he put his head down, and he just wasn't there. He wasn't excited about the fight, and he didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you, and
it sucks to say that because the young kid, unfortunately, they might harp on him. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but they might, jump down his throat for that. It was just a situation where maybe it's not that he wasn't ready, but the rankings said he was ready.
Yeah, the people will talk, okay? Yes. You win, you lose, people will shit all over you, okay? So, fuck the people. You should never listen to the fans or the shit like that. And fuck me and fuck you, because we are also going to talk shit about people. This is just the truth. But listen, I like something that you point out about the comparison that you did between this first round and the first round against Adesanya. Even Adesanya, who is maybe the more gifted striker in the UFC right now and one of the most gifted strikers in the history of MMA.
Yes.
He took his time against Derek Brunson. He didn't very patient. You know why? Because Derek Brunson is a dangerous fighter. You don't want to go in those brawls with him because he can knock you out. And this is what happened. Derek Brunson is no joke. I liked how he had this gold hair. Reminded me of Shelton Benjamin from WWE back there. The gold standard.
Yeah, with the Shelton Benjamin drop.
I loved it. And I thought that Ariel Helwani gave an advice to DC. Told him that you should paint your hair gold because that's what you need to do. Do it, DC, for your last fight. So yeah, and listen, I was so happy because I called it out last week. I said Derek will win. I like how sometimes fighters
I did call that Jennifer Maia fight. I just want to point that out.
You did. Yeah, you did. And I like how Derek Brunson, maybe that's what Edmund needed. He needed to get a little bit
for real. Yes.
Yeah, that's what he needed. That's what he needed.
Literally, everyone's like jumping him off the bandwagon like he's not going to be phenomenal still. He's 11-1. There's a reason why he was 11-0. The kid is going to take more from this loss than he would have if he would have beat Brunson.
Yeah, exactly. So he learned a lot. I think that he saw, and we all saw where are the issues when it comes to his game plans and what in his abilities. I think there's nothing that he cannot fix. I think that everything can be fixed with a little bit of time.
Sure.
And is the guy is gifted. The guy is very talented. You can see
He's
even
22 years old.
even
20.
in this fight, even in
Think
this fight
about
we
that.
see, he's very young.
22. You know what I was doing at 22? I was raising a kid by myself, being a dickhead still. Like I didn't have anything like planned out. I was fucking trying to figure shit out on the fly. Like Edmund Shahbazyan is doing the damn thing at this point in time.
Yeah, at 22 I was doing nothing, actually
Exactly.
nothing special in my life. And he's making history, I feel like, because he's very young, and yeah, he can even, and that's not what I'm saying that he should do, but if he thinks that he needs it, he could do it. He can like step back for 1 year, works on all his abilities, and come back stronger. He can do that. There's so much shit that he can do, and yeah. I'm happy for Derek Brunson.
Make money doing grappling tournaments and shit like that. You know what I mean? There's still money out there to be made.
Exactly. And I'm very happy for Derek Brunson. I feel like everybody counted him out. Everybody was saying like he will lose, and he won. And
everybody but Waleed.
Yeah, I believed in him, and yeah, it was good. It was good to see. I feel like it was good for Derek. Edmund, of course, a loss will never be better as a win, but even this loss is not bad for him.
No, not at all. For the young Shahbazyan, Derek Brunson has made himself a contender still. I would love to see him versus like the winner of Yoel and who's Yoel fighting? Yoel versus whoever the fuck Yoel's fighting.
Yoel's fighting?
Yeah, he's fighting in a couple of weeks, isn't he?
No.